for joining our KREI International Scholar Seminar today. Today, Professor Ito Shoichi will give us a presentation about the U.S. rice market and the Japan rice market. Please give him a big round of applause.
I shortly introduce about Professor Ito Shoichi. Ito Shoichi is a rice economist. So he has worked rice in Japan and in United States and all over the world more than 40 years. So he is a unique professor in the world to specialize the rice all his life. So he traveled all over the world to investigate, study the rice situation over the world. He is a specialist in Japan, United States, and Korea, and Southern American countries, Europe, and Africa. As well as Asia and China. So he has he maintained his site. He maintained global grain information, all information, including the acreage and yield and price, everything. So he maintained that site more than 30 years. So we had many rice projects together funded by the Japanese government and the Korean government, and we conducted several research and several conferences together. So he is a real expert on rice. It is my honor to have him at KREI. Please give the big hand to him. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Han. And I'm so happy we have been working together since the late 1980s. And well, actually, I finished my PhD program at the Texas A&M University back in 1988. But before that, I studied at the University of Arkansas. And at that time, I was, how old was I? I forgot. I was an agricultural journalist, before going to the United States as a graduate student. And while I was a journalist, I really realized that since we import lots of food from the United States, so I really need to study about United States agriculture. That's why I need to go to the United States, And I got a scholarship from the Rurally Club, Rurally International, and I had to choose, And I sent a lot of, applications to universities, but waited and waited, but no, acceptance letter came, and then there was a time limit for the International Rurally Club, fund, scholarship. So I was just worried. Then I wouldn't be accepted to any university. And then the University of Arkansas gave me the acceptance letter. So, okay, I'll go there. Then afterwards, 2 or 3 universities letter came. But just forget it. I go to the University of Arkansas. Then I found that the Arkansas is the largest rice producing state in the United States, not California, but any other state. Arkansas, I didn't know that until I get there. And then I was just studying, agricultural economics, and then a professor came to see me, and then his name is Eric Wales. And he asked me, "Are you interested in rice economy in the world?" Oh, yes. I want to study, American rice situation. So, he mentioned that I would, that include the U.S. rice situation as well. But When I accepted that, then also assistantship, so everything is free, and you get the half-time salary. And then eventually I found that the Dr. Wells wanted me to study Asian rice economy. But I said, no, I want to study American rice economy. But he said, oh, we know American rice economy, so you don't have to study. You study Asian. That's the thing. That's the way you study in the foreign countries. And when I have foreign students, at Kyushu University, and they say they want to study Japanese, rice situation. But I tell them, no, you don't have to. We know Japanese agriculture, so you just tell us your own country, This kind of things is really funny, but this is academia, Well, by the way, so since then, I studied rice economy in the world. And of course, while I was in the United States, there are many rice specialists from the USDA, located at the University of Arkansas. So I asked them many, many questions, and I studied with those specialists, and they were so kind to tell me, what the situation are. And also, I spent time to visit those rice fields in Arkansas. But anyway, today's title is, I forgot to put the Japanese situation. Sorry, but afterwards, I explained a little bit about Japanese situation too. And would they increase rice exports? This is the kind of new idea. And we think that the United States wants to export more rice to Korea, to Japan, Taiwan, everywhere. That's what I thought, in the past. But nowadays, situation has been changing. Why? So this is what I want to explain today. By the way, this is, the Dr. Han just mentioned that this is my homepage with lots of data. So I just want to explain that one also. Okay. By the way, this is the rice situation, change in production and the area harvested in the United States. This is just came out with the rice situation an outlook by the USDA. That's November. November. Where is the? Oh yeah. November 2023. They published it every month, and they revise data every month. And this fluctuation, that is quite, so much. Like this one is like, close to 30%, around the 30% increase from last year. Does it happen in Korea or in Japan? No. In our countries in Asia, it's very stable, right? If it changes like 1% or 2%, if it changes 2%, that's a little surprisingly too much. But in the United States, fluctuate this much, So this is the data from our homepage. I'll explain it later how to use it. But anyway, this one is area harvested and yield in the United States, and of course the yield is around 6 ton per hectare, and this is milled basis, and area has been coming down. In 1981 it was the highest back then, but afterwards it increased in this 2010, but not really surpassed the 1981. But afterwards, it's coming down. But by the way, production total is, yield is increasing. So the production back in 1981 was the, not really highest. Since then, afterwards, although the area is declining, but the production increased. But as you can see, it is kind of fluctuating. Okay, here in the exports and the imports, and the red one is exports, and the exports is coming down this way. Meanwhile, the imports, this is 1.2 million metric ton. Wow, it's really getting higher and higher. So that's what they import. United States import raise, although they export. And while the exports are declining, imports are increasing. So this is a kind of funny situation, but this is the reality in the United States. And this is the stock, and this is rather stable. I mean, in this area, of course, the fluctuate because the production fluctuate. But it used to be very high, but not anymore because they have their own news system. Okay, so this is the homepage with this, and let me just move to show the this one. With that, well, this is the page, okay? And then we have English, Spanish, and Chinese. I'm sorry, no Korean. So if you put this one, and then it turns out English, okay? And World Food Statistics and Graphics. So if you press this one, it goes the rice, wheat, corn, barley, millets, and then some livestock. This is the broiler and all those things, And rice. If you click rice here, then it comes to the world total data first. Okay, and then this is the area, and then also this is the yield. World the yield is world average, and then if you put the this one, then production and the consumption. Okay, and then, well, this is the world total. So, oops. If you go down, and then here is the countries. So this is a country. This is the world, and the North American countries, and the United States is here, and then Caribbean countries, and Central America, and then Africa is here. So you can get the data for African countries. And by the way, the Japanese JICA using this page, this data, quite a lot. And I'm happy about it. Yes. Oh, I see. Oh. I see. That's a good question.
Yeah, it is. I also use this data set.
Mm-hmm.
We know
Mm.
country produce
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's please have the use.
Let me just in the case of the United States, only California, basically only California. And then besides that, Japonica rice is the Egypt, where is Africa? Egypt produce Japonica rice. And then Japan and Korea, Taiwan, and then China. In the case of China, they used to grow only 15%. But nowadays, we just calculated just a few years ago, very, very extensively. Then we found that the Japonica rice is now half of it. Yes.
But it's your data.
Right. Yeah.
So but it's you just show the Japonica rice production in the U.S. data. We can identify the amount of the Japonica.
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, with that, No, not on this page. For that, we have to use the rice outlook, like, every month, And so like, one of which country should I use? Let's see, Nigeria. Then Nigeria production, the production and consumption. We are, talking about the production and consumption in the world. So Nigeria comes like this, and of course, area. If you put like this, and then it comes like this. And the graphs, only graphs are not really, it is good to see, but we have this. We have numerical data over here. So this is a numerical data. So if you just copy and paste, and then open up Excel. So this is the data, and then or you can use it, for your own. So this is all so many countries, and the one thing I want you to be careful. Like this black letter, we don't have data. Okay. And this is coming from the USDA, the US PSD, USD online, and it's a bunch of numbers. So we just programmed for these figures. Okay, so back to that slides. And we have a data for the grain prices, and whole prices of the Japanese rice and all of those things. So whenever you're interested in it, please take a look at them. Okay, so the fluctuation of U.S. rice production. Why do they fluctuate so much? Okay, competitive crops in California. Fruits, nuts, and the vegetables are more profitable. That I'll show you with the data. And then in the South, the high prices of soybeans and corn. Yesterday I just briefly showed those prices. Recently it's dramatically changed. And the water availability, in California, maybe you've heard that it's really dry. That's a semi-arid area. So precipitation is like 500 millimeter, 600 millimeter per year. Here in Korea, how much? Like 1,200, 1,200, something like that. In Japan as well, during the rainy season, it rains quite a lot. But in California, the rainy season is starting in late November through March. And then the rest of the time, it's all dry. It's really sunny. So rice production, it's really good with lots of sun, as long as you have water. So in California, during the winter, in the mountainous area, it snows and then it melts, and then it gradually comes into the dams. They have lots of dams. I think small dams, including quite a few. I think sometimes I heard there's something 800 to 1,000, including small dams. So the big dams is the Shasta Dam and Oroville Dam. Anyway, from those dams, they get a canal and then goes into the rice production. Okay. So in California, I'll show you if they try to expand their rice production or rice area, there are more areas in the southern part, the south of Sacramento. So There's plenty, but it doesn't, increase in the area. So, so these things are the main reasons. And Japonica rice, we, like Korea and Japan, worried about the American rice exports, particularly Japonica rice, and agronomically, enormous potential to grow Japonica rice, And as I mentioned earlier, even in California, a lot. And but in the South, the better water availability and land, and producers are willing to grow Japonica rice. If the California medium grain is, allowed to grow. However, no seeds and no research for Japonica rice in the South. The seeds from California protected and prohibited to grow in the South. You are agriculture economist, but plant breeders like rice, they are very conservative. Did you know that? Economists are very open, and then you become very friendly, and then you exchange information with each other. But when it comes to breeding, they are really protective. Their own area, So the rice varieties developed in California, they keep inside California. No. So like, we know the rice farmers in Arkansas, Chris Isbell, he wants to grow Japonica rice. And he used to do that, California rice. But eventually, California people found him growing California rice. But he didn't know that. So California said, no, you cannot grow that. So he switched to Japanese varieties. But the Japanese varieties are very difficult to grow. Koshihikari, have you heard that variety? It's large, so much. Once it's lodged, then it's very difficult to harvest, using machine. So the people don't want to grow the Japanese varieties. They want to grow California medium grain, but it is not allowed. So that's why they grow indica rice. And no public research on Japonica rice in the South. They have a very nice rice research institutes, in Arkansas. University of Arkansas does that. But again, they want to do only long grain. Oh yeah, it is. Yes, it is okay. Right. Yeah. In the case of koshihikari, it's very old, so there is no patent. And then, and then it is spread quite a few countries, in the world. Right. So the new varieties are really protected. Yes, but the old varieties, it's okay. And also, the varieties developed in each region, each region experiment station. So if they say okay, then it can go. Yeah. After 20 years, the patent just expired. So practically it is allowed to do. But some regions still continue to protect. Then it's impossible to get these seeds. So this is the situation. And so California situation, let me explain more in detail. This is the California acreage and the rice planted areas by type: long grain, long grain over here, the white part, medium grain, red part, and then short grains, this the top part. Okay. And back in 1981, they also, that was the highest acreage, on the 600,000 acres. This is the acres, okay? But afterwards, this one, just below 600,000 acres. And it fluctuates because of the water shortage and stuff, So last year, it was just about half of ordinary, acreage, the 256,000 acres. So it was the most severe year in California rice history. And then this year became back to normal, 511 acres, 11,000. Because of the water shortage. Yes, yes.
And last year is the technical price, the global price is so high.
Right. So,
And then dropped down this year.
Yeah.
This year is they have the water supply this year.
oh yeah, yeah.
So
Mhm.
this year is the technical price is down.
Yes, yeah, you can tell from this production. And there are no, data released yet, except for the total. So that's why. Oh yeah, price data here. I think this one. Yeah. So this is the one. When even the previous year it was kind of shortage, so the prices were higher. But afterwards, when they found that it's really we have a shortage of rice, Japanese rice production, then it just really skyrocketed, like $1,650. Yeah, and then now it's November. It's like exactly $1,000. This much of fluctuation. So the international, prices, they fluctuate so much. And in the case of Japanese rice, the California has the initiative, or kind of a press leader in the world. Yes. So when the California price is real high, then the rest of the world, in the Europe and particularly, and then also in some Asian countries, when they trade, they always refer to California prices. So that's why it was very, very, very high all over the world, including European countries. So this is a California price, and then this is the South, the long grain, and this is the long grain rough rice. This is the long grain milled. So it's interesting. This is a big difference between the two. See? So you can tell the rice farmers in the South want to grow Japanese rice, but no way. So it's really, strange. We feel the United States is a freedom country, but not in agriculture. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Hunt. And again, the long grain and then the short grain. Short grain is the generally the Japanese rice, and the medium grain as well. Yeah. The long grain is indica, and indica is a kind of not really sticky enough. Not really mochi kind of things, but not slightly sticky. And those things, and then when it comes to the modeling, China is changing a lot. They produce 300 30 million. Yeah, the and then next one is India, but India grows the indica rice, and China grows both indica and japonica, but japonica accounts for more than half nowadays. So it is changing, and so modeling must be really hard to accommodate those things. And well, so next one. This is a couple of years ago, we wrote the book, and then so this one. And gross income of rice, almonds, grapes for wine, and then tomato production in California. Okay, so we have rice, almonds, grapes for wine, and tomato for processing. And this is the yield here, and then farm price such and such. The units are very much different. So surely, and gross income, and then production cost, and then profits. Okay, we are missing the grapes for wine. We didn't have data, but we can tell from the gross income. So the rice is, comparing with rice is 1. This, almonds, 6.53 times, for the profit. And then even for tomato, double. Who wants to grow rice? Again. So anyway, and those, almonds, but those almonds are using less, than rice. So they're growing this one much better than rice. So this is, by the way, there is rice farmers, who grows koshihikari in California. They grow, I think there are 3,000 acres, That's the biggest. And then, have you heard the tamaki rice? And they provided tamaki rice meal. And what I want to emphasize is, the California producers, their average yield is very high, like nowadays, say, 9 tons per hectare. But when it comes to koshihikari, it is quite similar to what we produce. Like, oh yeah, yeah, it can be a less than. And it is that difficult for California people, because lodging. One thing is lodging. Yeah, fall down. Yeah, all the time. Yes, very difficult to control it for them. For the Japanese producers, they're used to it, so they're doing better standing. Right, tend to do more fertilizer. So, not many rice producers in California cannot grow, this type of special short grain rice, And anyway, and now let me show you the pictures. This is the Mr. M. He grows the koshihikari, 3,000 acres in his farm. This is his farm, and then some harvesters, and he is very good at the water management. And this is the showing how deep the water is. It's now just before harvesting, so no water in there. But he does check every day. He says, in America, the farmers just don't go out to the fields, so often, once a week or something like that. Yeah. But he does it every day, And this is the rice field view. And back then there is mountains. This is the world's smallest mountains, Sutter Buttes mountains. This is the mountains. But anyway, before that, this is medium grain rice. And now at the same time, here, this is a tomato. They just harvested and then they bring it. So the rice is also harvested at the same time. So they're competitive crops, you can tell. And okay, here, this is California rice area is north of Sacramento. That's the main. But in the south, there is a big area. We call it Sacramento Delta. This is some rice area. So this is a river, The river and then the islands, lots of them in the delta. So can you tell the water level is higher than this field? So if you put this water down in here, you get plenty of water in California. And in fact, that's the river over there. And then using siphon, so no pumping, just using, right at the beginning, you have to use a little bit of engine to pump up the air. And then once water comes starting flowing, then it goes natural. So this is the area they can grow rice. So here, some rice. But it is a really huge area. The rice is only this much. Why? Now they're growing the grapes for wine, and some other crops as well. So rice is not so profitable relative to that. So they cannot grow much rice unless the rice price is even much higher. The profits get much higher than the tomato at least. So that's the situation. And this is the area, they grow quite well. So now in the case of nuts, this is the plums and nuts and plums. And this is it's kind of hard. This is the chestnuts, and this is plums. These kind of things are very profitable, and then they are growing now, planting the new trees, baby trees, and you have to wait 3 years or so to grow before you can harvest. But still afterwards, it's so profitable. So farmers are doing that. And this is the rice, and this is I think this one was the olive, okay? And, it's right next to each other. So this would be, for nuts or whatever, the almonds or chestnuts or the olives or whatever. So it is so easy, yes. Yeah. Practically, not much problem. Yeah, I understand. In the case of Japan, even to grow soybeans is very difficult because all the areas get flooded together. But their way is individual. So you can control the water. Yeah, control the water. So it's not always flowing and then get flooded automatically. You can control the water. Yes. So that's why. So but it's a kind of big investment to grow nuts. So, the farmers cannot do overnight. They have to consider many things. Okay, this is some machines for harvest. Okay, the situation in the South, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas. Arkansas is the way biggest among those four. Arkansas is certainly bigger than California also. And again, this is rice, soybeans, and wheat, and corn. And their prices is really high, recently. And when, particularly at this point, rice was coming down, and then the other crops increasing. This year was a little bit unusual. But anyway, the almost consistently, soybeans are more expensive than rice, which is quite different from before, Most of the time, the rice was the highest, but nowadays, soybeans are higher. So in the South, they grow rice, and then the soybeans, they like 2 years of rice and then 1 year soybean, kind of rotate. That was they used to do. But because soybeans are so high, prices so high, so they grow soybeans more, like soybeans 2 times, and then rice 1 time. There are many farmers just like that. Of course, their soybeans are much more profitable. So the farmers, I visit them this October, this past October, last month, and they are now changing. I was a rice farmer, but now I'm a soybean farmer. Before, they're rice farmers. They're saying they call themselves rice farmers, although they are growing some soybeans. But nowadays, they have to change their names, but they still call themselves the rice farmers. Plant-based. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh. So yes, yes. Well, yeah, this is they use they make oil, right? Based on. Oh yeah, yeah, and also exactly diesel. Right, and so if I compare, put the petroleum prices over here, it's really moved along together. So the oil prices go up, then gasoline prices go up, and then those diesel has to go up, and also by other the kerosene, what do you call? I forgot. Oh, ethanol. Ethanol has to go up, and they want to use corn, right? So particularly corn and then those soybeans, they are now the fuel products, So that's why. And in the case of wheat, this one is the Ukraine war kind of things, and so they went up. But in the case of rice, we don't use rice for fuel, so only for human consumption, and we had so much of rice production, so it came down. So with this kind of situation, the South, they want to produce soybeans more. So that's why this is the rice area in the South. they fluctuate so much, and this year, surely it increased, but they have to always look at the market prices for those competitive crops. The rice, soybean, corn, and cotton, those 4 crops are the competitive crops. Okay, so that's why, rice production cannot, cannot be increased so fast, particularly in this kind of situation. Okay, this is the rice production in the South Arkansas, Chris Isbell's farm, and so he has those, stock facility. And these are the rice farmers, when I talked with them, if the seeds are available with the California rice, they are happy to grow, but the seeds are not available. So we are thinking that, maybe we can develop the some Japonica variety over there, since their rice research institute is not really interested in that. So maybe it is, that's an idea. But anyway, they are very enthusiastic about the Japanese rice. So the Japanese rice situation a little bit, and maybe I'll answer your questions. I didn't have enough presentation materials, and here we have the diversion programs, restrict production. They're from 1969 to 2018. In 1969, it started with the practice, practice spaces for 2 years, and 69 and 70, and then it formally started in 1971. But anyway, we had too much rice production, and we have to, that stock was just skyrocketing. So the government came up with this idea. I don't know, with the government or who else, and diversion program, and they didn't think about export at all. They put the idea, concept, that Japanese rice is much more expensive relative to the global rice prices, so we cannot compete. So we have to just reduce the production. That's the way they started. But it just continued too much production, and we have a really bad history for that one. And even farmers don't like. Farmers want to grow much more and then just export, but the government didn't support that. So anyway, it's finally half a century long program just finished in 2018. And so no government control on the rice anymore. Okay? I should say on rice for food. So to discourage rice production generally, income support program introduced for competitive crops. So other crops, soybeans and corn and barley or whatever. And then also rice for processing, This is for soju, rice for soju, particularly, and also rice for feeding, and rice for, yes, flour, yes. So rice for export encouraged, but no direct subsidy. So, if the other things are, sometimes equally profitable or more profitable, they want to switch to the production to those crops, rather than rice for food. So that's what they came up with. So it's free to grow rice for food, but it's not profitable for you. Yeah, if you want to do it for your own, then you can do it. So meanwhile, rice consumption continued to decrease, and then school lunch with rice leveled off at 2 times a week. Yeah, since quite a few decades ago, it stayed like that. And also, I just want to go back to the data here, and then take a look at the Japanese situation. Here is Japan. Yeah, Korea is over here. Japan is over here. So let's take a look at Japan. And this is the consumption and the production. Consumption just declining. So and we have less population now. Population is declining as well. So consumption is declining, and also we import. It's kind of stable, like close to 800,000 metric ton we import. Mainly lots of them, half of it coming from California, and exports just gradually increasing. But this one includes everything, in the government export as well, not only commercial. But anyway, this is the situation. So we probably, Japan has to continue to decrease the rice production. So, okay. Back to and also this is the data for the Japanese market prices of rice, and this is the Koshi Hikari over here, and then Sasani Shiki, Akita Komachi. You might have heard that, they're very popular. And anyway, the prices declined this, in around the beginning of 2022, but this coming back up. But in this area, 15,000 yen per 60 kilogram, and this is just about $1,850 per ton milled. And the California rice, when it was really highest, that's $1,650 per metric ton. So, with the Japanese, the products from Japan has a little bit of premium in the world market. So this is really compatible with the California rice. Yes. Yeah. Mm. Right. Maybe I'm not completely sure. Sometimes, it happens like this in this area. it depends upon how much they produce. Particularly in Niigata and the other area. So also the other things always caused by the supply and demand situation. So and yeah. I see. The thing is, oh yeah, it is. It is difficult. Now, we do a case test all the time. Yeah, and sometimes I prefer some other varieties than koshihikari. Yes, and recently there is a very nice variety from Hokkaido. Yeah. So, Nanatsuboshi. And there is another one I forgot. But anyway, the double A, that's the ranking, highest ranking, double A. Used to be only koshihikari, but now we have quite a few varieties from different places. So koshihikari is not really important anymore for Japanese, consumers. But in the rest of the world, koshihikari is more famous. The name is very well known. So in Japan, many people prefer the other varieties. In addition to that, in the supermarkets, the koshihikari, particularly from the Niigata prefecture, is quite expensive. And this is the rice export. The commercial rice exports up to 2022, it is a little bit over 30,000 metric ton. And then in 2023, we have a data up to September relative to the previous year, 32% up. So, it goes over there, probably, because the California price is so high. So, from Japan. Right. So it is a good chance to. Oh. Okay. Oh, yes. Good. So mainly this is Hong Kong, Singapore, the United States. United States increased quite a bit, and I checked the market. In the United States, it's very there are lots of Japanese rice from Japan, and stocked up in the supermarket. So this year, really good. But next year, I don't know. They may have a hard time. But once you develop the routine, then it is easy to continue that level. So okay. So this is. Let me just finish here and then open up for questions and answers, and as long as I can.
So please raise your hand if you have any question for Professor Ito.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Dr. Ito. I really enjoyed your presentation. I have a questions that which is not academical things, but it is based on my experience about rice. When I was in United States during my PhD degree back in 2010, I couldn't survive with burgers and sandwich and pizza, something like that, I have to eat rice, like every Korean, Japanese, and Asian does. So I went to Asian grocery market, and I found some Japonica rice that produced in California. So I eat it a lot. So I have to eat that extend my poor life at that time. Yes, H Mart and something like that. And one day, a bunch of the American people comes to me and says that in this rice, California rice, does have much of arsenic, some kind of a heavy metal, yes, poison. So if you keep trying to eat this, you will have cancer. So every time when I eat the rice, specifically California rice, I felt like I'm going to die or something like that. So is that true, or is there any specific region that California rice has the much of the arsenic compared to another rice that produced?
Arsenic is quite common poison among the rice producing areas in the world, and particularly in Bangladesh, there's lots of arsenic from the underground water. But generally speaking, the naturally flowing water, particularly in the case of California, that's from the snow, So I never heard the arsenic problem in California. Oh, excuse me. So, generally, however, I'm also interested in those things too. And I talk with the USDA people, and they say any country try to hide the real situation. Even in Japan, we have lots of kind of not arsenic of the some kind of iron things, metal things, So they used to have a kind of metal what do you call the factories in the right in the mountainous area, and it's just water just flows into the rice fields. So they need to convert the soil, but the Japanese government don't want to tell anyone. We know some. So even in the United States, I think there is some problem. I read a little bit of scientific paper regarding the South, that they're using the underground water quite a lot. But that may be a very minor, amounts, so a small amount, so it's not really affecting people's health. So that's the situation. And it is really funny, every country wants to hide it, So sometimes it's very hard to investigate it. Yes.
Rice.
Well, in the case of chemicals from outside, spraying outside, it's okay. Yeah, it is very strong. But in the case of arsenic, it comes through the roots.
Thanks for talking about the rice situation in the US and Japan. I just have one question about the Japanese rice situation. So you said the rice diversion program ended on the year of 2018. And I was wondering, did you guys successfully reduce the rice production in Japan? Or what was the best strategy that could reduce the rice production in Japan?
Best policy is just export. Yeah. But I feel, this is the story here. Maybe United States just pushed Japan not to export rice. That's my guess. Yes, my guess, only my guessing. Otherwise, at that time, there are lots of issues. The United States wants to export rice. Oh, there's a recorded. Yeah. So even around 1980, when Korea had bad crop, and you had to import a lot of rice. At that time, the United States they pushed Japan not to export to Korea. At that time, we had a huge amount of stock, and somehow between the two countries, we agreed. The Korea exported some to Japan before, so Japan pay back that amount. So Japan just exported some to Korea, But because of that paying, we borrowed before, so we have to pay back. That's the decision. But the United States was so nervous about it. And also in the Uruguay round, the United States is the kind of take the leadership to push the Japan and the Korea and the Taiwan to import their rice, quite forcefully. Yeah. And then we agreed. That's why now Korea imports like 500,000. Let's see. Yes, every year. Yeah. That it took a long time, half a century, And if you don't export things, then your mind is still, only domestic. When you export things and then you see the outside market situation, then you can be more, active for exports. So Japanese farmers, kind of in the case, for such a long time, in a way. And Japan is isolated country, and at least the Korea Peninsula is connected to to China. Anyway, by the way, back in I think that's 78 or 79 when you had a very bad crop, and at that time you started using a Tongale variety, and then increased, right? So it's kind of funny. We interpret that at that time you became self-sufficient. However, because the taste of the Tongale was horrible, so the rice consumption started declining. But anyway, we really need to change this declining direction of consumption of rice. Yeah, should come back again.
Thank you for sharing your research experiences with us. I have a question about California situation on Japonica rice. Is California is the only state? It may not be the only state which produce Japonica rice, but I just wonder the ratio of the national consumption compared to exports, and also why California started to produce Japonica rice, because the majority of countries around the world, they usually produce and consume indica rice, like in Africa and also South America, and in Asia also, other than Korea, Japan, and northern part of China, they usually consume indica rice. So I just wonder why the U.S. they started producing Japonica rice, and the current the U.S. policy about exporting Japonica rice around the world.
Okay. This is the production of the total production, like 7 million metric ton in total. And in the case of California, just about 12 to 15% accounts for that. So they are generally the Japonica rice. So why the California start producing Japonica rice? That's a good question. Well, there is a story that some Japanese immigrants brought the rice, called the varieties called watari bune. Watari bune. That's practically meaning the ship for going abroad, or something like that. That's practical meaning. Watari bune. So that is the Japanese rice. Then they, gradually expanded and then they developed the, new varieties. Eventually they found that the experiment station and stuff. The thing is, afterwards, they study. Excuse me. They grow. Long grain as well. There's a small amount, but they're doing research and they develop the long grain varieties. But the majority is, the Japanese varieties. So I think by nature, that is, the California is more immigrants from, I think, from Korea as well. So the more demand for Japanese rice. So that's why they ended up. And there are some Japanese immigrants to Texas. He brought the Japanese rice, but not much demand. That's why they didn't really increase. So that's my understanding about the situation in America. Okay, right. Thank you.
So, thank you. We'd like to appreciate Dr. Ito Shoichi for his insightful and informative presentation. Let's give him another big round of applause.
So I think is Professor Ito's presentation give us some insight for us. His research is based on the field study and the academic research together. Without knowing the field, you can do the good research at all. I have the more than 1,000 photo of the rice over the world. Whenever I visit the foreign country, I show it to Professor Ito too. We visit the market and look at the price. I know the old price. I definitely identify what is the best taste of the rice in Korea. And also I identify and I definitely identify. We have a taste test in his laboratory. I bring the Korean variety and I just take a test. I bought I visited Japan. I bought Japanese rice and I taste test at home. And also, I have the one question. Can you purchase the 10 kilograms of rice pack in the retail shop in Japan? I didn't see.
I see.
Yeah.
We used to have the
10
10
kilogram
kilogram bag.
Still, we have the 10 kilogram, 20
Oh,
kilogram.
yeah.
I visited Japan recently,
Uh-huh.
but they have just sell 2 kilograms and 4 kilograms, 5 kilograms. 10 kilograms is very rare.
Japanese people are getting weaker and weaker to carry 10 kilograms. So,
explain the package of the.
yes. Yeah, so used to be 10 kilograms, not the 20. And 10 kilograms is the biggest. And sometimes you had 50 kilograms, in Korea.
80 kilograms.
Oh, 80 kilograms. And the bag?
Oh, no, not bad.
Right.
It is not popular. Right now it's a 20.
Yeah, 20. So it's really handy to carry, much less, although it is becoming more expensive, they got smaller and smaller than per kilogram. Well, you're right. You can fresh one, more often rather than the 10 kilogram. And it takes 1 month. Or in the case of 2 kilograms, and it takes a week or two, then you can, buy the new one again, fresh one again. So even in the United States, they used to have 20 pounds, that's close to 10 kilograms. But now, 15 pounds, the most popular, and less. 7.5, 7.4 kilograms, something like that. 5 pounds? Oh, 5 pounds also there. In Japan, oh yes. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it is changing. Yes. Mm.